And welcome to the super fun, awesome, happy time, grunge amp, grunge pedal, grunge show. My name is Gabor.
Should say grunge more.
Grunge?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, welcome for some reason. Hey, I'm Alex. We're going to check out this little old practice amp today. But please.
It's not a practice amp. It's a professional amplifying tool. You tool.
Speaking of, please hit like and subscribe on the channel. Give us a thumbs up for whatever reason.
Yes.
You think fit, and comments, questions below.
Yes, please do. Or if you have one of these, if you have one of the other models. So, if you watch the channel a little bit, you will know that I'm a bit of a fan of the DOD brand. Done tons of, let's say there's a playlist to all the DOD videos that I'll stick here. But I've recently, and big thank you, shout out to our good friend CJ Taskas down in Melbourne, who actually organised this for me, basically. So thanks, CJ.
So like your dealer.
Yes, he's like my DOD dealer.
Yeah, cool.
I got this grunge amp. Now, in the late 90s, and I reckon in 97, for probably about sort of 6 to 8 months, they made these amps. They also made the rather interestingly named Grinded, which is another... So this is an 8-inch speaker, 15-watt solid-state amp. They made another 15-watt solid-state amp with an 8-inch speaker called the Grinded. Then they made a 2x8 speaker, two 8-inch speakers, iSit, which has the chorus and reverb on it. In dual speakerage.
There's a thumbnail.
And then they also did the iSit 12, which had a 12-inch speaker, which was a bigger version of it. Very shortly lived. US made.
Made in the States, yeah.
Made in the States. Most likely, just by looking at it like this, very sort of crate reminiscent.
Yeah. Did you ever have a crate amp?
Yeah.
Me too.
A little old crate amp. It reminds me a lot of that sort of stuff. But US made, with an 8-inch speaker in it, with a grunge circuit in it. This one's from October 1997, which was possibly one of the last months they ever made them. I think it was, just sort of during 97.
It's good vintage.
Good vintage. In blue as well. And it's a cool little amp. And if anyone else has any other DOD amps, let me know in the comments below, especially if you live in Australia, and then maybe we can talk about some things. Anyway, I thought, let's have a quick look through it. Let's run a few pedals into it, and then maybe look at a way how I personally would possibly use it in a studio situation.
In modern day pro playing, obviously you can use it as a practice amp or rehearsing, jamming, etc. But can you use it in a pro setup?
Yes, but you'll see how we'll do it later on. So, just to begin with, let's look at controls on it. So you basically have an input, you have a clean channel, which is a volume, and then you have this little switch here, which goes from clean to dist. Now, dist brings in the grunge circuit. So you've got grunge, volume, low, mids, and highs. And then you've also got a headphone out, and we might look at what that sounds like going to rect a little later on as well. But let's just start off. Let's check out the clean channel with Alex's guitar. What kind of guitar is that, Alex?
It's a Sire L7, played like this.
So the 3-band EQ, bass, mids, and treble works with the clean and with the dirty channel. Also, I should mention, so this is a home ribbon mic we've got in front of it, and we did a video on it too, didn't we? That's here. Yeah,
cool.
Australian-made ribbon mic.
Very awesome.
So the clean with transistor amps, very quick attack, super quick attack.
Punchy, yeah.
Super punchy.
Front of the notes just...
And I mean, that's probably, there's not much else to it. If we crank it a bit more, it doesn't really over... does overdrive a little bit, but it's not like...
It's not a pleasantly...
Not super pleasant, no. So it's definitely more of a clean thing, this. But it's loud. It has quite a bit of volume.
Yeah.
Now, should we also try to see what the clean channel sounds like if we run a fuzz into it?
Yes.
So we've got the Trusty Patches by Kaguya Effects, which you can watch the full video of here, which is kind of like a Big Muff kind of style thing.
Yep.
Just thought that kind of suits the
vibe.
The vibe.
The Marbo.
So that runs into the front now. So this is the clean channel again. Anything you would change? EQ wise?
No, it's pretty up front.
Pretty good? Okay. Let's... Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty loud.
But I know what everyone wants to know is, what does this sound like?
No one wants to know this.
Everyone does. With an aluminium neck guitar, tuned to C standard tuning, with a Bagley Guitars aluminium neck, Vanna guitar body, Curtis Novak pickups, Herod anodized aluminium scratch plate, Descendant vibrato, mastery bridge, and string switch noise wiring.
Wow.
Yeah.
It just rolls off the tongue.
It does. So that, tuned to C standard tuning, sounds like this.
You gotta hit the switch.
Sounds like this. Holy shambles is loud. It's louder than that guitar. A lot louder than that guitar. I quite like how Transistor amps react to low tunings and fuzzes.
Sure.
It has a sound to it that makes him sneeze.
Excuse me. I guess because, especially the Big Muff, it's all kind of collapsing in on itself and you lose a bit of definition, so that transient pops it back in.
Possibly, yeah. True that.
Gate.
That's loud.
So
Sorry?
Should we hit the drive channel?
Let's hit the drive channel. So now, we're going from the clean to the good thing, the grunge. This is when it gets good. I mean, it's a crazy, fuzzy distortion sound, but let's get into it. So at the moment, we've got this on 0. The grunge on 0. That's cool. I like this so much.
So push the mids really hard, like they're pushed up.
Yeah, it's a massively scooped sound and like fuzzy scooped sound. What does it sound like with a LP style guitar?
Normal guitar.
But now, what if we push it with a boost?
What?
So we've got the Super Collider by Crazy Tube Circuits, full video here.
Conductor?
Let's just see, and we're on the MF sound, of course. Let's just see what it does. It pushes it even more. It's cool. But now, again, what everyone's waiting for. What if you used a grunge circuit in conjunction with the Big Muff style? You know, the trusty patches. So let's just find a low gain grunge sound.
No such thing.
Okay.
That's a good riff to play.
Absolutely, it's very grungy. Let's add the Big Muff circuit. Let me ever go with that. With it. So it's without the trusty patches. Very angry. It's cool. I like that sound actually. That's a good. Let's add the boost to it. Without the boost now. I find a Big Muff style, the trusty patches.
Smooths it out, eh?
Yeah, it gets rid of that high end.
The bees.
Yeah, they're very angry bees that are in this.
Boxer bees.
Now, I mean that's basically the amp, right?
Yep.
Should we now try it out in a way that I would maybe use it at home?
Sure.
So what I would do, actually, let's just set it up, and then we'll get back to that, and then we'll explain what we're doing. Yeah. All right, we're back, and we now have it set up the way I would probably do it at home, how I would use an amp like this, or one of the ways I would use an amp like this. So what we've done now is we've added The FX, can you see it? Yeah, I can't see it. It doesn't quite reach. But there's a link to it here. The FX747 by DOD, the supersonic stereo flanger. In stereo. Now, one side goes to this, right? The other side goes, as usual, into the Mostronics amp switcher, into the Chertone OTS Mini 20, and into the 2-note Torpedo Captor X.
Yep.
And the way we have it running in here is we have this basically dry in the center, or at the moment everything is dry, but we have this dry in the center, and we have the amp basically in stereo running hard panned left and right because it's going through some effects too, but we have the effects switched off at the moment.
Yeah.
So all you hear is a little bit of reverb from this, I think.
So essentially it's really like, it sounds complicated and it sounds big and lush, but the way that we can do the stereo thing is the captor has left and right out.
Yeah.
So you can find these old, like, quirky old rack units. I've got an old Zoom one, old Japanese Zoom one somewhere kicking around, or the Line 6 stuff, or anything. You use some old PA like effects racks that go really cheap on eBay and stuff these days.
Yeah.
And run it through that, because then it's line level and it goes through the rack gear really nicely.
Yeah.
So then you get this kind of big lush stereo stuff.
And so this stuff is basically after, it's like it's after the speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like after the virtual speakers. So this is now with everything kind of, all the effects for now turned off. So we're just splitting the signal here. And there's, if you hear some reverb, that's from the Captor X. But the delays and everything are turned off for now. But this is just so that's in the center, and that amp is sort of left and right around it, and it sounds like this. Now let's slowly embiggen it. So now we've got the supersonic stereo flanger. Now that goes into both, right? So that goes into that amp, and it also goes into that amp. So that's kind of stereo spreading it now. So that's already giving it a cool stereo spread. And all, like I said, all the reverb you hear comes from the Captor X, and that's only on that amp.
Yeah.
This amp is completely dry. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add quite a high mix delay, which again is only on that amp. This amp is still dry in the center. So you've got this stereo image around this, right? Let's do that. That just sounds lovely. I mean, you can technically do it with any other amp, but I just find a lot of times these little transistor amps, they have a certain unique sound to it, and it just adds a different vibe to everything.
Also, the valve amp plus the reverb and effects on the outside is very soft and lush and floaty.
And you've got this really snappy transient.
Yeah, the little punch of the clean down the center.
Now, let's try the same thing with the guitar that has a very long intro that I talked about before. The Browncaster. Let's do it. So same sound now, but in C standard tuning. Sounds like this. And it's, these pickups are super snappy.
Sure.
And then going into the super snappy amp on top of it. I really like that sort of stuff. You know, it's just an interesting mix of tones. No, that was with the grunge turn on in this as well.
Double
it's
fuzz.
a massive sound. It's just such a big in a room here. It's just sort of it's this 3D sound.
It's not terribly loud, but it's big.
Yeah. No, we don't have it super loud in here, but it's. But anyway, I mean, it was just a thought, right, of a way how you could possibly run this, you know, and make it maybe interesting.
For different recording tones, it can be like 2 of these or 3 of these style amps, whether this one or not. I've got a little practice amps we're going to check out later today. It can just be small amps because they're recorded with a microphone, so I don't have to be 100-watt stacks of Doom.
So often, if you have little old transistor amps floating around, if you find them at garage sales or estate sales and stuff like that, car boot sales, do people still do that? Flea markets? Is that kind of stuff still going on nowadays?
I've never bought fleas.
No? Only when they go well. If you're recording at home, if you have an interesting setup and you just introduce that to it, it just changes the way everything works and the way the whole thing reacts. Should we now very quickly, lastly, just do the headphones out just to see what it sounds like, just for shits and giggles.
It could be terrible. Let's find out.
All right, and we're back now for the last part. So now what we've done is we've plugged, there's a headphone output, and we plug that in straight into Logic. So as soon as you do that, the speaker gets turned off, so there's no sound coming out of this. So we're just hearing it now out of the studio monitors. Let's see what that sounds like. So clean channel. But now the test. Let's go to the grunge channel.
Angry Bees.
Well, it sounds like now with that, with the trusty patches into the front of the clean channel. Yeah, it's not the greatest sound. But how about now, just very last thing, because we still have it hooked up in stereo and it's still running into the... We still have the amp here. I just turned... It was on standby before. We're still going through after that, through the delay. So that's all still the same, but now we're going direct, so that the center, this amp, is direct. We're not using the mic. Let's turn the flanger on, and let's do it.
It's weird.
Let's do that one.
pretty weird, isn't it?
That is pretty weird. So that was with the Grunge Channel on and the trusty patches on. Anyway, I mean, it's all just fun and games. What we're sort of trying to get at with this as well is it's a kind of a cheesy little amp, old amp, but you can use it for stuff, and it just gives you interesting different tones, and you can play around with it and make kind of unique character sounds out of it.
Like if you're watching videos like this, there's probably a good chance you've got a box of pedals that you don't use much. So this is only cost you your time to plug something like this in. If you don't have one, I'm sure a mate down the road has one. You can borrow it and check out, and sort of get some stereo stuff going on.
Try out different ways of using these things, and using all little old practice amps you've got floating around, because often they're actually pretty cool. And you hear about, I remember I used to read a lot about back in even the 90s, and when I first started reading guitar magazines, people using those little Squire practice amps and sticking them in the bathtub with a mic in front of it, and it gives you this kind of weird reverberated sound, and it's just all about experimentation. So that was the idea sort of behind the second part of this video. First part is looking at this amp, it's DOD, it's cool. Second part is seeing how you can actually use it in a recording scenario.
So, comments below. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Got any ideas for us to plug this thing into other things?
What we need is 5 of those, and then do 5.1 surround sound.
No. Hey, links below to Instagram, Facebook, and a podcast. Check it out if you got a second. Thanks for hanging again.
Yeah, and big thank you to CJ again for organising all this down in Melbourne for me. Thanks, man.
See you soon.
See you next time.